What's up? I'm travel photographer Brendan Vanson of Brendon'sAdventures.com, and right now I'm riding the Via Rail across Canada from Toronto to Edmonton. It's, for most people, a once-in-the-lifetime opportunity to do a train like this, so you're gonna want to capture it. So these are my tips for taking photos out of a moving train. So if you've never shot out of a train before, it can be a challenge. You've got glary windows, you've got moving objects, you've got a bumpy train, and yeah, you've got all sorts of challenges. And so I'm going to take you through some tips on how to shoot out of a moving train. And the first one is get rid of the glare somehow. Now the best way to get rid of the glare is take your lens hood off your camera, get that lens or camera as close to the window as possible, and you'll block out the glare when shooting out the window. Another good tip is if you're in a cabin like I am, a big fancy cabin, a messy cabin, you can shut off the lights. If you shut off the lights in your cabin, you're not going to get as much glare. That's tip number one. Tip number two is to use a faster shutter speed than you normally would. When you're in a moving vehicle, everything outside is flying past you, so unless you want really, really blurry images, you're going to want to bump up your shutter speed. Now that doesn't mean dropping your aperture to a tiny number. It usually means increasing your ISO just by a little bit. If you double your ISO from what you're normally shooting, you're doubling your shutter speed, so that's a good trick. Double your normal ISO. Tip number three is to use the movement to your advantage. If you can, and you're in a vehicle that can pop open the windows, reach your head out, focus on the train, and shoot a slightly longer exposure, and you'll get the outside motion blur of the terrain or landscape, and you'll get a still sharp train, and it's a really cool effect. So use that speed of the moving vehicle to your advantage. Tip number four is to focus on the details. Now, what a lot of people do shooting out of the trains is they shoot really, really wide open. But if you're shooting wide open, you're going to get kind of a boring shot unless you're in a really mountainous landscape. If you're somewhere like I am across the prairies of Canada, then you're going to want to pull out a longer lens like a 70 to 200 millimeter or even a 50 millimeter and focus on some of the details, the farms, the lakes, the cabins, things like that. Focus on the details. Try not to worry too much about the big picture. You can cover that in just one photo. Tip number five is to not forget the inside of the train. You're on the train, it's part of your experience. You want to capture that experience. So my recommendation is to pull out a super wide angle lens if you can, something like a 10 to 20 millimeter lens if you're on a crop sensor, or a 16 to 35 on a full frame, and really show off all the details with a big nice wide angle. I think it's a cool effect, and it shows off what life is like inside a train. So that's tip number five. Get wide, show off the inside of the train, not just the outside stuff. The next tip is to stabilize. Any type of photography, you need to stabilize. When you're on a moving train where everything's bouncing around, you really need to stabilize. I like using a monopod in the trains because it allows me to be mobile and get around, but still have enough stability to shoot. You can use a tripod too, although the spaces are tight, so it might be a little bit hard to set up. Tip number seven is to get out of the train if you can. If the train stops, as this train did in Winnipeg, get out and shoot. Don't just sit in the train. You've been in the train for 3 days. Every time it stops, even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's an hour, get out of the train. Go and shoot some pictures of the towns, of the train villages. The train villages means a little village the train stops at, obviously. But get out of the train. Don't just do everything inside the train. Tip number seven, get out. The eighth and final tip I have for you is to not forget about the people. There's lots of other passengers you can photograph. There's lots of people helping you out. You've got the waiters and you've got the service staff and all those people, the conductors even. Don't forget about those people that make the journey. I know taking pictures of people is the hardest thing for most people, but the human interest of any journey is so important, so do not forget about that side of things. Anyways, that's it for the show from this Via Rail journey across Canada. I hope you enjoyed the tips and the images that have come from this trip. It has been a great time. There's no Wi-Fi on the Via Rail across Canada, which is awesome for me. It's been a bit of an internetcation, if you will. I want to remind you to subscribe to my channel. Subscribe in this little red box. There's lots of cool stuff still to come. I've got some more gear reviews for you. I've got some on-location stuff in Western Canada. I'm plopping down in Edmonton, getting out of that city as quick as I can. And we're going to be in the Rockies. We're going to be in my hometown. We'll be all over the place. And it should be fun, so stick around. Also, remember to head over to my website, brendansadventures.com. There's a link for it below, or you can click on me at any time. Subscribe to my newsletter and you will get a free copy to my adventure travel magazine, Vagabond Magazine, which is stock full of some awesome travel photography, some awesome photography. So subscribe now. Anyways, that's it for the show. I'll catch you next time. Peace.